One sign-in that Sheffield United let slip through their fingers, and now he's making them look absolutely foolish. This is the Kieffer Moore story, and trust me, it's a belter. Alright Wrexham fans, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because we're covering the Red Dragons like nobody else. 3 massive stories for you today, and I'm telling you right now, you need to stick around for the last one. We're talking about a striker who's turned into an absolute menace in the Championship, and the club that let him go for peanuts is probably kicking themselves. But before we get to that, 2 other big updates you need to know about. Let's dive in. Right, first up, the telly schedule just got a whole lot more interesting for Wrexham supporters. 3 of our Championship fixtures have been selected for live coverage, which means prime-time football and the entire country watching the Red Dragons do their thing. First one's at home against Leicester City on Tuesday, January 20th. That's now an 8 p.m. kickoff on Sky Sports Football. Leicester, mind you, are one of the big boys who've just come down from the Premier League, so that's going to be an absolute cracking atmosphere at the racecourse. Then we've got an away trip to Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday, January 31st. That one's been moved to a 12:30 p.m. kickoff on Sky Sports Plus. So if you're planning your day, factor that in. Wednesday are always tough at Hillsborough, massive club with a proper fan base, so the lads will need to be at it from the first whistle. And finally, another away day, this time at Bristol City on Friday, February 13th. 8 o'clock kickoff, Sky Sports Football again. Friday night football under the lights. The travelling support will be buzzing for that one. Now, here's the thing. The EFL and Sky Sports are giving us 4 months' notice now on these selections, which is brilliant for planning. No more finding out 2 weeks before that your Saturday afternoon's been shifted to a Tuesday night. It's proper fan-friendly. And with Wrexham's story, the Hollywood ownership, the documentary, of course they're going to put us on the box as much as possible. But that's not the only news coming out of the racecourse. Let's talk about the weekend, because Wrexham picked up 3 crucial points against Charlton Athletic. 1-0 at home, Josh Windass with the penalty in the 77th minute. That's 5 Championship games unbeaten now, sitting 13th in the table heading into the international break. Not bad at all. But here's what's interesting. Phil Parkinson made 4 changes to the starting 11 from the midweek draw at Portsmouth. Out went Libby Kakassi, Matty James, Lewis O'Brien and Windass. In came Ryan Longman, George Dobson, George Thomason and Nathan Broughead. Now, Parkinson explained it was all about freshness. 3 days between matches, travelling back from Portsmouth, the gaffer felt he needed to rotate. And fair play, it worked. The lads who came in did their job, and then the substitutes, including Windass, turned the game when it mattered most. That's squad depth. That's what you need at this level. But there's a concern. Libby Kakassi, who's been absolutely solid at wing-back this season, picked up a calf injury after that Portsmouth match. He's already had hamstring issues earlier in the campaign, so this isn't ideal. Parkinson says it doesn't look too serious, but Kakassi will probably miss New Zealand's international fixtures. The silver lining? We've got an international break now, so hopefully he gets the time to recover properly. Because when you're pushing for the playoffs, and Wrexham are only 5 points off those spots, you need your key players fit and firing. Now those were big updates, but what I'm about to tell you next could completely reshape how people view Wrexham's season. This is massive.
Kieffer Moore. That's the name you need to remember, because this man is making Sheffield United look absolutely ridiculous right now. Let me set the scene. Back in August, Wrexham splashed £2 million to bring Moore in from Sheffield United. The Welsh international, 33 years old, towering presence up front, exactly the kind of striker Phil Parkinson wanted for Wrexham's first crack at the Championship in 43 years. But here's the thing nobody's really talked about until now. Sheffield United basically gave him away. Since arriving at the racecourse, Moore's been nothing short of sensational. 9 goals in 17 matches across all competitions. Let that sink in for a second. This is a bloke who Sheffield United fans didn't rate, who they thought wasn't good enough, who they were happy to see leave. And now he's tearing up the Championship for Wrexham. The highlight? A perfect hat-trick against Coventry City back on October 31st. Coventry were top of the league, unbeaten, and Moore absolutely destroyed them. Right foot, left foot, header, 3-2 to Wrexham. That's not just goals, that's a statement. That's a striker saying, you lot underestimated me and now you're paying for it. Sky Sports pundit Don Goodman, former Wolves and Sunderland striker, knows a thing or two by the Championship. He's come out and called Moore an absolute nightmare for defenders. And he's not wrong. When you've got a 6'3" striker who can hold the ball up, bring others into play, win headers and finish with both feet, what are you supposed to do? Wrexham are figuring out how to use him perfectly, and Sheffield United are sat at the bottom of the Championship wondering what they've done. But here's what nobody's really talked about yet. Moore's journey to this point. His only season at Sheffield United after signing from Bournemouth in 2024 was brutal. 5 goals in 18 appearances, that's not great. But the real heartbreak came in the Championship playoff final against Sunderland at Wembley. Moore made a back pass error that gifted Sunderland a late winner. The criticism he got for that was relentless. Sheffield United fans made him the scapegoat for the failure to get promoted. On top of that, Moore dealt with multiple injuries, had to have surgery, came back too soon. It was a nightmare season for him personally. And rather than stick with him, rather than give him another chance, Sheffield United's manager Ruben Sellers decided to let him go. £2 million, done deal, off to Wrexham. Now, imagine being Moore. You've just had the worst professional experience of your career, you're being criticised left and right, and then Wrexham come calling. Phil Parkinson sits you down and says, we want you. We're building something special here, Hollywood owners rising through the leagues, and we need the striker who can lead the line in the Championship. What would you do? You'd bite their hand off, wouldn't you? And that's exactly what Moore's done. He's come to Wrexham with something to prove, and he's proving it every single week. Listen to what he said about his time at Sheffield United. It was a difficult season. Would I have liked it to turn out better? Of course. But I use things like that as motivation. I wanted to come here and almost remind people what kind of player I am. That's the mentality of a proper professional. That's someone who's been knocked down and is getting back up swinging. And Wrexham supporters are absolutely loving it. Here's where it gets really interesting though. Don Goodman made the point that I think is spot on. Sheffield United never played to Moore's strengths. They wanted him to be something he's not. But Wrexham, they've built their attack around him. They know exactly what he brings. Long balls, crosses into the box, using his physicality to bully defenders. It's old school Championship football, and it works. The debate about big target men is always rumbling on in football. People say they're dying out, that the modern game doesn't need them anymore. But Moore's proving that when you use a striker like him properly, he's still absolutely devastating. Wrexham recognise that. Parkinson recognises that, and now Moore's repaying that faith with goals, assists and an all-round nuisance value that's making life hell for every defender in the league. And get this, Moore's back in the Wales squad under Craig Bellamy. He scored the winner against Kazakhstan in September, and he's been selected for their final World Cup qualifiers against Liechtenstein and North Macedonia. So not only is he smashing it for Wrexham, he's representing his country at the highest level. Meanwhile, Sheffield United are languishing near the bottom of the Championship, probably wondering what they've done. What would you do if you were a Sheffield United fan right now? You'd be fuming, wouldn't you? You'd be watching Wrexham's highlights every week, seeing more banging goals and thinking, that could have been us. Because the reality is, they had the player, they had the talent, they just didn't know how to use it. And now Wrexham, a club that's only been in the Championship for a few months, are showing them exactly how it's done. Here's my take. Kieffer is the perfect embodiment of what Wrexham is all about. Underestimated, written off, and then proving everyone wrong. This club went from the National League to League One in back-to-back seasons, and now they're sitting 13th in the Championship, 5 points off the playoffs, with a striker who's scoring for fun. That's not luck, that's smart recruitment, smart management, and a player with everything to prove. Sheffield United made a massive mistake. Wrexham capitalised on it, and if Moore keeps this form up, he could be the difference between Wrexham consolidating in the Championship and Wrexham pushing for promotion. That's how important he is. So there you have it. 3 massive stories. 3 Wrexham games on live telly coming up, Libby Kasaka's calf injury hopefully not too serious, and Kieffer Moore absolutely embarrassing Sheffield United week after week. Here's what I think happens next. Moore keeps scoring, Wrexham keep climbing, and by the end of the season, we're talking about this signing as one of the best bits of business in the Championship. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney brought the Hollywood magic, but it's players like Moore who are making the dream a reality. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Moore the signing of the season? Are you buzzing about those televised fixtures? Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Come on, you Reds!